All right, how's everybody doing? All right, today I'm smiling ear to ear because I get the opportunity to sit down and speak with a young lady that I've got to watch throughout her career. Of course, I had to watch her on television because I wasn't in person, but I got to watch her completely dominate the sport of track and field. I can go through a list of her accomplishments, but it'll take me pretty much the whole podcast to do that. So what we're gonna do is allow Miss Sydney Sutton to talk about her track career, her upbringing, everything about her career to kind of inspire young ladies that are running track and field right now. I think that'll be easier opposed from me just listing off all your accomplishments. Excuse me. All right, Sydney, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope you're doing fantastic too.
I am. I'm definitely doing good now. I finally get to speak with you. Like I said, I've been a fan for a long time. I've watched track and field for a while, but to get to see the way that you dominated track and field is absolutely crazy.
Mm.
So I'll kind of jump all over the place a little bit because I definitely want to first congratulate you on being a two-time back-to-back athlete of the year.
Oh, thank
That
you.
is unheard of to go back to back like that. How does that feel first and foremost?
It feels amazing, but I know like all my hard work that brought me here, and this is just some of the results that I've been looking forward to for years throughout this.
Absolutely not. When I saw that, I was like, man, I knew you were going to win it though. I knew you were going to win it, but to see it be done, that's a huge feat for you. And so again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But let's start at the beginning, Sydney. So kind of talk to us about when you first started running track, like when you found that love for it.
hmm So actually, it's a funny story because when I was little, I used to beat all the boys. I used to
Yeah,
race all the boys, all the from tag, freeze tag. It was so bad they didn't want me to play anymore.
yeah,
So, my coach got me into track. Well, not my coach, my gym teacher
okay,
recommended track to my mom when I was around 9 years old. So that's when I started. I started on my first team USAJA during that time, and it was definitely tough. It
yeah,
was really hard from that transition to just running freely, tagging my friends to hard grit work, even
yeah.
though I still had the support of all my teammates and all that during the time, but it was definitely tough, challenging, and there was a lot of ups and downs during there.
So what made you really fall in love with it? 'Cause I know, like you said, it was tough doing it. It was a big difference from just having fun with no type of competition for real to going to where everything kind of mattered. Like you had to try to win. So what made you like kind of stick with it and really find love for it?
Me and track really have a love-hate relationship. I think like my determination to not lose is what kept me in
Yeah.
the sport. Cause like, dang, this girl beat me. Like, I gotta go back and back, and it was just like a constant cycle of that. And it was just frustration. It was love for the sport from like being with all my teammates and all that. But I think it was just that drive that I just wanted to be better and beat these people that just kept me in the sport for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I think I hear that from pretty much every track athlete. When I ran in high school, I was nowhere near, the athlete that, you guys are. But, I think that's really what it was like, because it hurts to run, especially the events that you do, those events hurt. So
Yeah.
to keep doing it, it's definitely a love for it. And like you said, the competitiveness of it, definitely shows in how you attack the track each time. It shows that you're very competitive. So when did you start running, like, as far as like Junior Olympics, did you do that stuff for USATF?
Yeah, I think I did that maybe my second year, third year, starting track into it, where I
Yeah.
really got like serious and I started to go to all the farther events.
Okay. I told you he's gonna keep coming in here.
Yeah.
Go put that down for me, bud. All right, so hold on a second. No, please. No, please. He does not like me not having attention on him. So let's talk about your first few years of high school. Tell me kind of were there any struggles like when you first started in high school? Like, were there any struggles kind of getting your footing, like competing at that next level? Opposed from like the youth and junior high stuff like that. Was there like a struggle kind of catching your footing when you got to high school?
There was definitely a big struggle, like knowing that every move that you made at that moment, like really mattered during those times. Like it was definitely a transition because, I don't think I really took track seriously until I really got into high school. And like obviously I was introduced to Coach Lee and all of them.
Yeah,
So I think it was just that the transition from the type of workouts I had when I was a kid, just running and running and running to like actual workouts that are gonna get you to where you need to be.
yeah.
So that was definitely tough, but I had a lot of issues going from middle school to high school and just throughout my high school career though.
So how did you kind of persevere over those? Like, what was the mindset to kind of get you over those humps?
I think like the main mindset that I had was just knowing that everybody has a different story and you can't compare yourself to others because, during track, like you might have a kid that runs a crazy time and then you don't see them in the future. Like you just know that
Yeah,
you have your own story, you're developing at your own pace, and track is really just it's your own race at the end of the day because there's no pressure to just well, there is pressure, but you know that you're developing at your pace and know that in the future you're going to get to where you need to be if you
absolutely
stay around the right people.
right. And we'll talk about that as well. I'm glad you said that, as far as the right people. But, track is one of those special sports, where you are going against the time. Everything is about time. And then until you get on a relay, it doesn't really, not even say it doesn't matter, but, you really don't get that team feel until you get on the relay. You have to pass that baton around. But, it is a very individual type sport. So you're kind of competing against yourself, every single day. So kind of talk to me about, as far as like your circle, like what type of people you hang around and how do they kind of help you to get to those next levels?
I would say Bullis is like a great example of like a team that really pushes each other to be the best version of themselves because, during practice, my teammates will push me, they'll support me, but they'll also tell me stuff that I'm doing wrong and like they'll tell me the hard stuff and they'll tell me the
Right.
good stuff. So they're like my teammates are just type of people that they'll lift you up when you're down and they'll hug you and they'll cry with you and just everything. So I think that's really helped me during my track career and how they just push like how I push them, they push me during practice and like all together it just creates these awesome athletes that we have now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I watch y'all. It's definitely talent all over the team. So kind of talk to me about how you kept that motivation to keep going harder even after you committed, because you committed to go to Florida. So that's ideally the goal for every athlete is to go to college and run. So how did you keep that momentum going even after you've kind of reached that pinnacle for yourself?
I think it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where it was just like I just hate losing.
Yeah,
And, I feel like everybody obviously hates to see someone else doing better. So I just wanted to get to the best point of like kind of just I just wanted to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be during track. Like even after the commitment, like I still want to hit my goals, stuff that I had in mind, stuff that I wanted to run because track you can't really relax. Like it's not
right.
really oh I did it, I'm done. Like people will just forget about you. So you just kind of it's just like knowing that about the sport that just kept me driving to where I am now.
And it drove you. So 56:04 in the 400-meter hurdles, which
Yes.
is the eighth fastest time all time for high school girls. When you come across the line, you see that time. Like, how does that feel for you? All the work you've done, like, what's that feeling for you?
I think it felt amazing. Like I think during that moment, I just had all the adrenaline moving, and I was just like, "Wow!" Like I really did that. Like
Yeah,
I didn't practice hurdles that much, but I was just like, at the end of the day, it just came to whoever wanted the most.
yeah.
What you have to do to get there, and just it was just thinking about a lot of things. Like I think a million things was running through my mind. I was just like, you know what? I did it. The race is over.
Yeah,
Let's move on to the next one.
that's. I'm glad you said that too. You're saying a lot of stuff that's leading me into, a lot of things I want to talk to you about as far as your mental, because on both ends of that coin, you have the idea of when you don't do so great in a race, you have to erase that and move on to the next race. For you, when you come off of a time like that and you've seen that accomplishment, what's that mindset to say, you know what, let me get that out of my head and let me get ready for this 4x1 or this 4x2 that I have to do with my teammates and do my part for that relay? Like, what's that process for you?
I think like I know no matter what race I go into, how little or how big, I just know I have to give my all. And the
Yeah,
mindset is that like my teammates need me every single relay or every single leg on a relay matters. So all I
yeah,
know is that I just got to give my best, you know, run as fast as I can and just
yeah,
do what I can to help my teammates out at the end of the day.
absolutely. And so 4x1, 4x2,
Hmm.
400-meter hurdles, 400. So
Hmm.
the end of the track meet, of course, is the ultimate race that everybody's waiting on.
Hmm.
I remember watching this on television on the New Balance channel, YouTube channel, and everybody was talking about Bullis. And so, what is that like mentally for you to know that everybody's got their eyes on you?
I think like throughout my whole track career being at Bullets, I was always on the big stage and at the big meet stores like, oh, there's Bullets, this
Yeah,
Bullets. I think it really pushes you to be better and know that you carry that weight of like, my past teammates, the people that, built this pathway for us and
yeah,
like all the way in the beginning 2013 when Bullets was made or around
yeah,
that time. But I think it's just it's an amazing feeling, but it definitely does come with like some pressures, especially
right.
when you know like I gotta do my best, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But yeah, it's a love-hate thing with the Bulls.
Yeah. And so you ran second leg for the 4x4 for national, correct?
Yep.
I know a lot of people has probably expected you to run anchor. But of course, for me, I'm looking at second leg, and I think of Allison Felix. I think of Sydney Goffin that just ran second leg at the Olympics. Do you ever think about greats like that when you're looking at the arrangement of the order for your leg? Like, do you think like, oh, this is Allison Felix's leg? Like, how do I approach that? Do you ever think like that?
I don't think like I specifically think about the greats or like, how you said this is like Alison Felix's leg, but I definitely think like I just know that I got to give my all, try my best no matter what leg I'm on, and that
Yeah,
the legs don't matter at the end of the day as long as you know that you put your all into the track and that you trust your coach that they made the best decision for you.
right. So another national championship in 4x4. How does that feel? Is it a different feeling when you're winning a national championship by yourself or placing in the top three by yourself versus when you're coming across the line and you've done it with your team? Is it a different feeling for you?
I think like it 100% is a different feeling. Like with the relay, it's more so you're excited for everybody. Like we're all hype, we're all excited. But I think for the relay, like at least in my opinion, like I definitely feel more. I mean, not the relay, the open. I definitely feel more strong. Is like wow, like I really did this because like you did this solo. Like this was all you. Like because
Yeah,
with the relays, you can have a bad lick and still come out on top. But with the open you know that you drove and you did everything that you could to get to this place and that it took a lot to
yeah,
win national champions and that you
yeah,
were just one of the special ones.
absolutely. So what's the goals for your freshman year going into Florida? What would be your top three goals for yourself?
I think definitely my top three goals. I don't know if you mean like time wise, but I don't try to put like times on myself, but definitely like keep up with my recovery because that's a very big part of the sport because sometimes I do get lazy. So that's
Yeah,
definitely my big goals when I go to college. Um and I gotta think about this a little bit.
yes,
My recovery, definitely like just still trying to become the best version of myself in every single race that I have, like never losing that drive that I have for track to just be one of the best and stand at the top of that podium no matter where I'm at. Pro me, it doesn't matter. Just yeah, definitely like during practice, give my all during practice, stay motivated and keep with my recovery.
those are good goals. Do you have a GPA goal that you have in mind for college?
Definitely 4.0, or if I can
Yeah,
even go above that.
yeah. So what is your major going to be?
Finance. I chose finance.
Okay. Do you have plans of what you want to do with that?
I know that I chose finance so I know how to like handle my money because I think 100% if I could make it there, I definitely want to go pro and like
Absolutely.
continue beyond high school. So I think I chose finance for the reason that like I'll be able to handle my money solely and know, oh,
Oh, there you go.
like and solely know like what's happening with it.
Yeah, that's a good. That was gonna be my next question. Do you have the goal in mind to go pro? A lot of athletes they try to not think about going pro because everybody wants to think about school first. But when you're running times like yourself, or you're as competitive as yourself, like you said, times don't always. I won't say they don't matter, but sometimes you won't run the fastest time that you've ever ran, but you can win a race. Because it's just that competitive, or it's the weather or whatever it may be. So, as competitive as you are, going pro is definitely, something that you see in your future.
It's definitely something that I see in my future. And I think like ever since I joined high school, I always had that thought in the back of my mind. But like, become a senior, you're
Yeah,
going to college, you have to make job choices, this, that, and the third. That's always been my number one, that I want to go pro and I want to go beyond high school and run with Cindy McLaughlin,
yeah,
Gabby Thomas, all of them.
yeah. Do you have an event or events that you kind of want to focus more on when you go pro?
Honestly, I could even answer that question for like even when I get to college. I think it's just
Yeah,
more so, like whichever one I really start striving at, and because eventually separation will, or if it doesn't happen, then 400 hurdles, 400. I just want to be
yeah,
I want to be able to do it all, but whichever
yeah.
one starts becoming the best, then that's probably the one I'll be focusing it.
Gotcha. Would you try for a double, like the 400 and 400-meter hurdles? I know Britt Wilson. I know she tried it. I know it's very hard to do. Would you try to go for that?
I think it definitely depends in the moment, like where I'm at in my training, how confident I am, but I
Right.
100% would try for that. If I could do it again, I would, but
Yeah,
it's tough. It's definitely rough, but I would 100% try to do that.
absolutely. All right, Sydney. So, last question I would give you, it's a two-part question. So, what advice would you give yourself at age 14? And what advice would you give to another athlete, a young girl that's coming up right now that is looking at you as a motivation, to push her to get to that next level? What advice would you give?
I would definitely say like always believe in yourself. You should always be your number one supporter at the end of the day. I know you have your parents, this, that, and the third, but if you don't believe in yourself when you step on that line, then none of the results will happen because track they always say it's 60% mental, so you really got to believe and strive that you are the best. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
where you are, like you're the best, and that you are going to win that race no matter what or who you're lined up with. It doesn't matter. You got to
yeah,
know that you're strong, and you got to know that even when you make mistakes in the sport, it always means that you're trying and that you care. And it never means that you might be worse than the person next to you, because that person next to you might be going through other things and your story is different from theirs and will forever be different. Nobody's story is the same.
right,
So like even when you go through hardships, people get injured, people get hurt, sick, and that and the third, that is always just testaments of like your character and striving to where you can get, or striving to become the best version of yourself, like no matter what challenges are thrown at you, that you're gonna persevere through them
yeah.
and that you're just gonna give your all no matter how you're feeling that day.
I love it. I love it. I really hope, young girls, I know I have a few that are going to do summer track, finishing summer track this year, that definitely I make them make sure they tuned in to, watch you ladies run and just really take notes. And I had them kind of break down what they could, about your races and stuff like that. And one
Oh,
thing they kept saying was I kept, talking about how you look at the line, like you're looking past the line. You're not really focused on a stopping point. You're running through the line, so that's a big thing, that I preach to all my athletes is running through the line. And I definitely appreciate your approach to the races. It shows in your races how much love that you have for it. So I appreciate that respect that you give to the competition. All right, let's see now. I appreciate you coming on with me. You okay?
oh yeah. This feels like something in my throat. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Well,
no, I definitely appreciate you taking this time with me. I know you're busy. I know you're probably still recovering right now.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate you, and I will be, watching you when you get to college, watching you race. Hopefully at the end of your freshman year, I can get you back on here and kind of do an update, see where you're at and how everything's going for you.
Of course, I would love that. And thank you for having me again. I truly appreciate you inviting me out and be able
Yeah,
to talk about my story and ask me all these questions that it's just been a true honor.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.